Today's episode has been brought to you by Schedulicity.
And also by a brand new idea that I've been thinking over in my mind to help those of you who either want to or who are currently teaching yoga online. This idea doesn't even have a name officially, or even a landing page as I record this for you today. But it is in the works. Maybe there will even be a landing page by the time this episode goes out. I'm going to tell you more about this idea at the end of today's episode. For now, I'm calling it the Connected Yoga Teacher Collective, or TCYT Collective for short. This has come out of the many questions that all of you are sending to me or posting in our Facebook group. I'm listening and I really want to help and support you to get your yoga online. And today's episode will also help you all along the way, but then tune in at the end for an idea that is pretty brand new, as some of you might have heard it in our Connected Yoga Teacher Facebook group, or you might have seen some bubblings in our newsletter, and I'll tell you more at the end of today's podcast. New listeners, returning listeners, hello and welcome to the Connected Yoga Teacher Podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Crow. I'm a mom of 3, a yoga teacher, and a trainer and consultant who works for yoga teachers. And this podcast was created for you so that each and every week you can connect to the information and inspiration that you need to feel supported as you navigate these really sometimes tricky jungles of being a yoga teacher and also being an entrepreneur. Today is a really special podcast episode, and I want to give a huge shout out of thanks to Amanda McKinney, a really great friend of mine, also a biz bestie of mine, and someone who I love collaborating with. And it was actually her idea. She said to me, use that as a podcast episode. So Amanda used this on her podcast. If you listen to both of us, then our intros and outros are different, and this chunk in the middle is the same. And maybe you even tuned in for the live or the replay of this masterclass that we did together. We put this together because of all of the questions we were getting from yoga teachers who wanted to know how to get online and teach online in a really quick way. And a lot of this information is the first steps to get you started. Now, we also went further and did 4 more masterclasses where we dove into Facebook, Instagram, Zoom, and YouTube. I'll make sure that all of the links for those are in our show notes. And the other thing you're going to find on that page is a free PDF. Now, there are 4 PDFs that I will make sure to link to. And I just want to tell you, these are created by Amanda. They're amazing PDFs. Anyone can go and download them. She did a fantastic job of summarizing all of the key points for these 4 platforms. And this is the bonus when you collaborate with someone who gets your business and then can add different things to it as well, different perspectives. For example, Amanda is really well-versed in all things marketing and especially YouTube. And these are not strengths of mine. I love to talk about how to teach on Zoom because that's what I really know and understand. And I have my own way of putting things together in my membership up on Thinkific. So we balance each other out really well because we have this understanding of different platforms and we work in different ways with yoga teachers. You're going to hear us in today's masterclass talk about how you can look for a biz bestie or someone to partner with and try these things out. And I highly recommend that you do that. It is not the easiest thing to find someone who is a good fit, but when you do, wow, is it ever helpful for your business? Amanda and I keep in touch on a daily basis through a really handy app called Voxer. And we also have a mastermind with Amanda Kingsmith and Mado Hesselink, who all of us work with yoga teachers. All of us have podcasts, and it is amazing to have people who are doing similar work. They understand it, are not feeling like you're competition to them, and who really can dig in and we can collaborate and work together in amazing ways that then ripples out into the communities that we work with, the yoga teachers that we work with. If you are looking for links to anything in today's episode, it's all ready for you over at theconnectedyogateacher.com/165. And before we dive in, I want to give a huge shout out of thank you to 2 people who left a review. This review was left by Master Black from the United States. Thank you so much for taking the time to leave a review. This person says, as a practitioner of almost 30 years and now a yoga teacher, this has been so transformative for both my business as well as my private practice. Thank you for listening to your calling to do this podcast and to support our community. Sending you blessings, love, and light. Keep the great info coming, sharing with others like crazy. That is one of the best gifts ever. 1, to leave a testimonial, and 2, to share the podcast. Shout out of thanks to everyone who has done either one of those things. And if you haven't, there's still time, and I love to read each and every review on the podcast. Also, thank you to Sadie Yoga Lady. These are your usernames. If you are going to leave a review, you can leave your real name in the review if you want me to read it out. Otherwise, I use your iTunes usernames when I read these out. So Sadie Yoga Lady left a really quick review that says, "This episode really helped me tune in and find direction. Thank you." And the title was, "Why Wasn't I Listening Earlier?" Well, thank you so much, Sadie. I'm so glad that you're listening now. And I'm so glad that this particular episode, whichever one it was, really helped you to tune in and find direction. Also, a huge thank you to the team over at Schedulicity. This is by far my favorite online scheduling software. I love the team over there. I love the way this software works to really support me and my yoga business. So let's hear our hot tip of the week from Schedulicity.
Hello, Connected Yoga Teachers. This is Katie with the Schedulicity Hot Tip of the Week. When you create an online yoga studio, you make space for a virtual community that can grow beyond the confines of any room. Managing your clients and getting paid can be the trickiest part of existing online. Remove the guesswork with Schedulicity and make enrollment, communication, and collecting payment as easy as taking a deep, cleansing breath. If you have 1 student that you teach in person or 1,000 signing up for live virtual workshops, empower them to book online with ease.
Thank you so much, Team Schedulicity. Alrighty, before we dive in, I want to tell you a couple of other things. So, in case you're listening to this episode way past April of 2020 when it's releasing, Amanda and I recorded this masterclass right when things hit the US and Canada of lockdowns, stay-in-place orders, social distancing, and everything around the coronavirus. We decided to put together a masterclass where we could really dig into some of the questions that you have about teaching online. So we did the first 30 minutes, and that's what you're going to hear in today's episode of this masterclass, where we did a full review of all of the platforms that we could see that could be used not only to market your yoga, but then to get paid for your yoga. And I would highly recommend tuning in for the full replay of this. I'll leave a link in the show notes where you can see the video, and also you can see the questions that other people had. We answered questions for the second half, which is super valuable, and you'll be able to see the chat that went along with it and everything. I'll make sure that the link is in the show notes for that. Over 900 yoga teachers registered for this masterclass, and that's when I knew, you know what, this is such an important topic right now. How can we connect with our students? How can we connect while we can only be online? How can we bring yoga to the people who really need it right now? And I realized at the top of this masterclass, listening to it again, I really like to say, let's dive in. You're going to hear that right away. So let's do that. We want to dive right in.
Yeah. So we're going to dive right in. And so the huge thank you to everyone helping. And the number one thing we want you to remember right now is to take it one step at a time. So we're going to give a lot of information, and we hope to answer as many questions as possible. We are certain that we cannot get to them all. So hang with us, and we are open to doing this again. So hang with us. We're going to do everything we can to get the information to you, but take it one step at a time.
Yes. I think that the thing that I am seeing, Amanda, is that people are like, I need to get my business online right now. And then they quickly switch to like things that they don't have, like things that like we see people saying like, I need to have an online course and a membership and a really fancy camera. Well, guess what? So do I. But I have a membership now, but I don't have a fancy camera. You can do this. And we're going to start with what you have. So I think this is great. We're just going to start. If you've never done yoga online, we're going to start right there today.
So we're going to take this, like Shannon just said, in different levels. I'm sure we could come up with a cooler name if we really thought about it, but that was not important to us. So the first level being like, you've really not worked with video before. And so this feels like a really big jump. So we want to talk to you first. If you're just really thinking like, I still want to share yoga with my students, but this video thing is really uncomfortable. So that's who we want to talk to first.
Yeah, so it's level 1. If you've never done video before, here's where we go. So start free and start where you're comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, start where you are. So if you are already on Facebook and you have a Facebook page, then we want you to do some Facebook Lives. That's an easy way to start this whole video journey that you're about to go on, which it does get easier. I promise it gets so much easier. It was very difficult for me, and now I'm on video all the time. So if I can do it, you can do it too. And you want to start where you are. So if Instagram is your place, then you might want to do Instagram Live or Instagram TV. And the reason that we're saying live, so Instagram, doing like an Instagram story or, a Facebook Live, the thing about live is that you don't have to edit. So while it seems like it is uncomfortable, like the most uncomfortable is going live, right? Because it's like, oh my gosh, it's live right now. But it's actually so much easier because you don't have any editing. And when it's done, it's done. So it saves a lot of time and it's really helpful. Like right now we are live. If my dog barks, you're going to hear it, but we're going to keep on going, right? So this whole thing of you really feel connected when there's a live component. So that's where we're going to say to start.
Yeah, because also no one is expecting perfect, especially in the last few weeks. What people really want is connection, a place to do some yoga, a place to connect with breath, maybe go for a walk with you outside live. We're seeing more and more that we can't hang out like we're used to. So this is the place to connect with people for sure. So no one is expecting you to have some polished video, and it actually won't go over very well. So if you were thinking you really have to step up your game, don't.
No, trust me. We both Shannon and I get comments all the time about when it feels really real, when the dog does bark in the background. Like how many yoga teachers do you know that have their cat or their dog that somehow gets in the video and it's really sweet? You have that moment where you see like, oh, they're a real human, like they've got a pet in their house too. So these types of things happen. And I love the idea of taking a walk together virtually. That's a really cool idea.
The other thing I want to say about this live video is I recently interviewed someone, and it's coming out soon, and it's all about getting on video. And she said that they did this course and this test, and basically what they found from this is that it required 5 times to hit record before people stopped caring. So that was one of the big key takeaways from that. Also, if you can avoid watching yourself back, it helps. Like if you can just go live, do it. We all think we don't look good on video.
Right.
I don't know how many people I talk to who say, I don't like the way I sound or I don't like the way I look.
Right.
Us as humans pick ourselves apart. Our students don't do that. You show up live all the time in front of your class to teach.
Yeah.
And I know that was scary at the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So sorry, go for it, Shannon.
I was just going to say, and the other thing is you might be thinking, well, how do I go live? I would say start with your phone.
Yes, absolutely. And if you want a place to try this out, I actually have a 5-day video challenge inside my Facebook group. So if someone could put that in the chat, that would be amazing. Thank you so much to everyone helping us right now. I have a 5-day challenge and I have run this several times. So you can jump in there right now. And basically it will just get you used to going live on your phone in my Facebook group, but it gives you a safe place to try it, right? Like you're not in front of your students yet. You're just in front of other yoga teachers who are just going to cheer you on, including me. So jump in there, I would say, to do that. And that came from the fact of I do so much video now. So people think it's really natural. It wasn't natural. I actually signed up for a 21-day challenge where I was on camera every day for 21 days. And now it's not as hard.
Yeah.
So it gets better.
It does. I did a 10-day video challenge and they were terrible. They were awful. I was waiting for people to come on. I didn't know all the steps. There's a really good podcast that I will make sure is in our resources. So Amanda and I are both going to get you a big list of resources after this as well. You'll get an email from us and that resource about the lives.
I just wrote it down.
Thank you, Amanda. I'm like, watch me, because I'll just keep promising, we have these things. And then always ask us.
We're doing this imperfect, right? We don't have it all figured out either. We're figuring, trust me, we were on Zoom this morning trying to figure some things out.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to move on to level 2 to make sure, because this is kind of the biggest chunk. So we want to make sure to give it enough time.
1 second.
Sure.
I would just say, if you have not gone live on Facebook or Instagram before, you might want to stop listening, but you'll get the replay of this. You might be like, okay, girls, that's it. I'm going to go live. And so if you plan to do that, let us know in the comments. And then you might just want to shut this off and go live.
That's very true. Remember that 1 step at a time thing? You want to take it 1 step at a time. So if that's your comfort level, then I would say either jump into the challenge or jump into the challenge and go live on your page, sharing yoga today, and start getting more and more comfortable. It can be 5 minutes. It can be 2 minutes. You can do a breath technique. It doesn't need to be like, please don't do an hour long, asana practice on your first live. Please don't do that to yourself. That's not gonna sit well with you in that moment. So just do a little bit at a time.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, okay. Amanda, level 2.
That's perfect. So if you're leaving, bye. We will see you when you come back to watch the replay. So level number 2 is you've worked with video before, so you're a little more comfortable with it, but you're looking for an option of working with your students, whether it's private students of one-on-one yoga, like Shannon was talking about earlier, or some group classes. And so this is where Zoom comes into play. So Zoom is our go-to resource. As you can tell, we are using Zoom right now. And so this works really well for private yoga, where you can see the person that you're working with them when you're working with them. And it works for groups as well. So there is a free option, but there's limitations to the free option. And you have a maximum time of 40 minutes for a class. So if your private sessions are 1 hour, you have to upgrade to the pro version, which is $14.99 US a month. One of my yoga teacher students said basically that is less than what it costs to rent a studio for a private session. So it was very easy for her to pay for that to work with her private clients. So if you think about it in that realm, I know spending more money is uncomfortable sometimes, but when you think about I would have had to rent that studio space for $25, it can kind of seem a little bit better. And then you can also record with the paid version as well. Am I missing something about the Zoom Pro?
The recording is really important. I definitely have a bunch to add with Zoom. You didn't miss anything. I love how you've broken it down that it's like 40 minutes, 3 people. If you're going to do that, go ahead. I think the recording is worth so much 2 ways. It's worth so much to your students. It's also really worth something to you if you want to start to build a library of videos at some point. Let's say you were teaching to group classes, especially not private one-on-one. Obviously, you wouldn't want someone's private session put onto your library, but if you were teaching to group classes, it can be really valuable to store it. And the other thing is to think about how you want to teach on Zoom. So if you look at us right now, if Amanda and I were standing way at the back of the room, it would feel
very much further back. But
I can.
Distance.
This is actually where I teach on Zoom. So I can go back there and I can demo a class. But the moment I do that, I can do it if my student needs to see me do something. But honestly, when I'm teaching, I just sit here and I watch them and I see what they're doing and I cue them. Now, if you were teaching to a really large group and you can't see them, you might need to demo and do it that way. So you would play around with it. And don't worry, same thing. Your students are just going to be thrilled that you've figured another way out to bring yoga to them. They're going to be okay with, okay, this, the video glitched for a moment. Well,
Right.
that's the way technology is.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
these things, they happen, and people are going to give you lots of grace. They will. In this time, like we have both worked with yoga teachers looking to take their business online so many times, and it's stressful because you want it to be like a really professional feel when you do that. In this moment, you have such a sweet moment to take your business online because no one is going to do that with you. They're going to have so much grace because they're stuck in their home right now, feeling like, I want to have human interaction and I miss going to yoga class. So this is a big deal that you can do this in this time and have that grace from your students that hopefully they would have anytime, but they probably have a lot more right now, a lot more patience, a lot more time on their hands, all these things. So you can keep going and figure it out. And you can easily say to your students, hey, I'm trying this. And so you're going to be learning with me. That's okay too, to admit that you're trying something new.
Yeah. I am going to get a resource to you. It was a Zoom demo that I did a while ago, not that long ago, it feels like. And I had done it in case you need to use Zoom, in case there's a snowstorm or your students can't make it into class or, to try it out. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to let you know that I know where in that video do I mention, or in case there's a virus going around the planet that makes it so that everyone wants to get on Zoom and get online, just so you know. So it's really a bit bizarre, but basically it was jumping on Zoom and answering a bunch of questions about how it works, how the teaching works. I'll make sure that we get that for you. And then also, Amanda, someone had asked you about using Apple TV.
Yes. So I had a yoga teacher reach out and say, hey, can Zoom interact with Apple TV so that the person, the student, it was a private yoga teacher that asked this, so that the private client could see on the TV. So it was bigger. They wanted to see the yoga teacher's face bigger so that they could interact. They could feel more connected. And so it took a little bit, but yes, you can. And here's the thing. So on Apple TV, what you have to do is take your phone, your iPhone, and have it do a screen mirror. So you choose screen mirror and put it up on Apple TV. So then your phone is there, and then connect to the Zoom meeting. If you connect to the Zoom meeting first, you can't then project it to Apple TV. But if someone has an Apple TV and that's an option, they know how to use Apple TV.
Right.
So they will understand what the screen mirroring is. And on that note, we're kind of going to talk about tech and equipment and all of that. First and foremost, I would say, don't assume that your students don't know anything about technology.
Right.
A lot of yoga teachers be very worrisome about, well, I've got to have all of these demos of like teaching them how to use Zoom and all of the things. And there will be students that have that, but a lot of people know how to use this type of technology. So try really hard not to make a lot of work for yourself before you're sure that you need to go through all of that. Because right now, if they work for a company, they're probably figuring it out for their company. So they're getting a lot of these resources, and a lot of people just know how to use these types of technology. So don't assume anything, but you can absolutely have some resources that are super helpful. So on my resource page on my website, which we'll make sure that that's in the comments. So if someone could add that, that would be amazing. There is a section on my page, and I'm going to look at it to tell you exactly what section it's in. And it's in the marketing section. And there's a link where it's called email to students. And what I did is my private yoga teacher sent out a phenomenal email to her private yoga students and basically said, I'm offering it online. And she did a video tutorial of how to register with a Zoom account. So that is all linked on my website. So make sure to check that out for sure.
And also, I put one on my website that Jenny had done. She'd done some emails. First, it was the email to say we're not using props. Then it was the email to say we're going online. And I have a podcast interview coming out with Jenny soon where she goes through how she got online using Zoom. And I want to tell you as well, the few teachers that I've talked to just in the last 2 days who have jumped on to do this, some have skipped the Facebook and Instagram. They're like, my students need me right now. I'm going on Zoom. Some of them have said, I'll work out the tech for 1 or 2 classes and give those for free. Some are also just charging the exact same. This is a question that comes up all the time. Do I charge the same? And I would say 100% yes. You are offering an amazing service. You're figuring out the tech for them. They are able to have a recording. Now, there are also a few teachers who are offering this to their students who are in full lockdown, where they just feel like, I'm going to offer free yoga. And that's your choice. Like, you really have to see. But I know that our yoga teachers still, you're very needed in these times. And this is your job.
Yes. And I think it's amazing to have a free offering. So that is the Facebook Live, putting something on Instagram TV, utilizing YouTube. These are things that can be the free option for anyone and everyone, right? But if you already have paying clients, if you have a private yoga client right now, there is no reason that you need to all of a sudden give them free yoga. There is no reason for that. They are paying. We invest in things that we invest in financially. So to take that away is almost a disservice for that person. And if you have group classes, if you have studios, if you work with a studio or you own a studio, then I guarantee you, I hope that the studio is figuring out how to utilize virtual yoga. And so therefore the memberships of that studio, the person's membership is still paying for those classes. And so you therefore should be paid as a teacher if you're offering that from your home. So there would be that happening. If you're offering it on your own, you can still be charging for these group classes. So I don't want anyone to think that you have to offer everything for free. It's super nice. And having something for free is very important. We're doing it. Right? Like, we do things for free all the time, but make sure that you are also taking care of your business as well.
Yes. We can't do this every day for free.
No.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be here being able to do it. So that's super important. And when you send that email out to them with the link of a recording that they can use over and over again, that makes it, it really is valuable to someone. Also, something with Zoom, I've had it where people's internet will go down on their side and I just keep teaching. So then they end up with the replay of this full class. So it's pretty amazing sometimes. Now you have to have a backup plan because we live in a place where sometimes the internet goes down here in a snowstorm. And so we just deal, just like, you get to the studio and something's happened and you pivot and you move.
Right.
One other thing with this, because I know that people are going to ask, what about Skype? What if Zoom goes down? Because Zoom is working very hard this week too.
They're doing great. And if I wanted to talk to someone from Zoom, we would. But they're doing great. They're working really hard. The recordings are taking a little bit longer. Just prepare yourself for that. But other than that, it's working wonderfully.
Yeah. And so people have been saying, what about, I know teachers who teach on FaceTime. That's an option too. Zoom gives you the chance to have multiple people record it, give them a link for the video or the audio, so many options that I haven't found somewhere else. So if someone else had a different option, they could share it. But I'd say if you thought, okay, Zoom is the step, first of all, just start a meeting. I'm going to send you a resource. It's just a Loom video of me showing how to set up a meeting or get on Zoom. And I'd say play around, ask your neighbor or your friend or your mom if they'll hop on Zoom with you and say, can I just lead you through 3 yoga poses? And I just want to see if you can hear me, can you see me? You can record your own if you can't find someone. But I think this week you'll be able to find people who
use each other. I bet you all know someone else in the chat right now. You've seen someone else that is here learning the same thing and you've recognized their name. Reach out to them and say, hey, can we partner up and practice Zoom together? I would encourage both of you to set up a meeting, send it to the other person, have each other join, record it and send it, and do that on both sides. So if it was Shannon and I, then I would I would create the meeting and send it to her. And then she would do start a meeting and send it to me so that you have practice on both sides of the coin here. So you can make sure to do that.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. I was saying in my Zoom demo, I wish that I had like a Zoom, like online dating, but Zoom partnering. I don't have that. It doesn't exist as far as I know.
Yeah.
So
you
can also, if you're in Amanda's group or my group, you can post in there, I want to find a Zoom partner.
Yeah.
And you can do that.
Both of our Facebook groups. And if you're not on Facebook, please connect with us on Instagram or email us. Like, there are other options to get to us. However, the resource is our Facebook groups right now, simply because you'll have access to other yoga teachers who are working with the same thing. So you might get answers quicker, because as you can imagine, our inboxes look kind of crazy right now. So email is an option. It just might take a little bit longer. So use our Facebook groups for, pretty much anything right now is like raising your hand. Hey, I need a Zoom partner. I go live in my group. Like, we don't necessarily always offer that as an option all the time, but right now, like, have at it, sisters and brothers.
Yeah, you can test your audio too. I saw someone doing that in your Facebook group, Amanda, testing audio, like, backing up and seeing how does this sound? Is this okay? How's the lighting? That's really, you know what? We are all doing that. If you think that someone else has it figured out, that's because they've had all this time testing. I can't tell you how many tech things went off the rails yesterday for me.
Oh gosh, yes.
You just keep going.
Yeah, it just happens.
Yeah.
So
speaking of tech.
Right. Well, I would say tech is basically like use what you have. Use what you have. The next level is...
I have a poll for us. Let's do the poll.
Perfect.
Let's see. What equipment do you have?
Yeah.
Let's try that out.
Using what you have... Sorry, the poll came up for me. I'm going to exit out of the poll for myself. I know what tech I have. But for the tech, I want you to be able to use what you have. I have received floods of questions of what camera should I use? What microphone should I use? And my answer to everyone, which everyone who has asked me that question can vouch for this, the answer is what you have right now.
Yeah.
What you have right now is what I want you to start with. Because if I gave you a camera or a microphone suggestion right now, you'd go buy it. And what if that's not right for you in the yoga that you share? I don't know what yoga you're sharing online. So you might not need the same type of a microphone or a camera that I would suggest right now. So use what you have to figure out what you need.
And the moment you think that the answer is in a certain type of camera, or look at that yoga teacher, what microphone did you use? Because that looks really good. That's actually not the answer. 9 times out of 10, this is about just practicing doing the video. Honestly, Amanda and I both know this. We work with yoga teachers who want to get online, and the first thing they want to know about is equipment and platforms and software.
Yeah.
That's really not the thing. The thing is being scared. We're scared anyway, and doing it anyway, like pressing the record and doing it. So you know what? 95% of people have said that they have a phone on here in the poll. Great. You're ready.
Use your phone.
I use my phone all the time. And my computer. So 91% are saying, well, I feel like a lot of you have a phone or a computer. I want to say 100%. Otherwise, how are you here?
Right. How are you watching this right now?
Whatever you're using to watch this is what you can use to create a video.
So use what you have. And then if you are at this next level of like, I'm ready, Amanda and Shannon, I want to use YouTube, then get after it. YouTube is a fantastic resource. And bonus points is that it's owned by Google. So this is going to help you overall. And this is definitely something that you want to keep in your mind as you're growing your online business, for sure. I think YouTube is a fantastic resource for most people to utilize, and it's really helpful in terms of reaching your students. So I know yoga teachers who use it simply to create content to give to their students, so they can have a link and say, hey, I did this for you. I recorded this video, but it also helps other people as well. So there are resources on my website on the online page that's in the chat. So thank you again for everyone helping in the chat right now. That has my go-to resource for YouTube, and her name is Trina Little. I have a podcast episode on my podcast with Trina, so go check that out. But her YouTube channel, as you would expect, is fantastic. There is one video I suggest that you start with because it tells you how to create your channel. And now she goes into a lot of details about branding and a channel trailer and all the things. Don't worry about that right now. Don't worry about that, but it's there when you're ready for it and to like settle down. But let me tell you this, you do not need a logo to make money in your business, and you don't need a channel trailer to serve your students today in this time that we're in right now. That's a nice to have. So I want you to get there eventually, but don't start there. You just need to start with getting content up on YouTube.
I also want to acknowledge that it was scary for me to, like, I was doing Facebook Lives, and then the moment I went to download one of those Facebook Lives, so you can eventually use those, and put it up onto YouTube or take any video to put on YouTube, it was scary. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I just thought now more people are going to see this. So all along the way, there's that fear. And we're looking at a poll. I put a poll up about who has a YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And most of you are saying no, but I want to learn to be on YouTube. Make sure that you've done this level 1, like, Are you on Facebook and Instagram, mm-hmm. so that people can get to know you and see who you are? You know, have you tried Zoom? And then,
mm-hmm. Right. Right. I definitely would suggest the going live. Like, do that right now. You can do that with your phone because 91% of you said you had it. You can do that today. You can go live today and share something. That's going to help you get in the habit and get more comfortable of sharing yoga online and interacting when you don't necessarily have someone, like, you can't see their face. Right?
Yes.
So this is going to help you in terms of connection and being on video. So once you do that, if you have no reason to use Zoom right now, you can skip that and go to YouTube if you want. It's a big jump. Just saying.
It is a big jump.
It's a big jump. But I certainly wouldn't want you to be like, Amanda, I don't have a class. Shannon, I don't have private clients, so I don't have a reason to use Zoom, but I really want to create a YouTube video. Like, get after it. You know, if that's what you're thinking about doing, go for it. But definitely start with that live video to get just thinking about creating video and getting more used to it, because YouTube is a big step and there's a lot. You're going to be flooded within information of how to make YouTube better, and your videos come up more, and there's a lot of information of like SEO and keywords and all the things, which you don't necessarily need if you're just trying to get some things out to your students right now.
Exactly. There's so many benefits to YouTube. Like, it's a search engine. You know, this content stays up there for a long time, but you really have to look at what's my number one goal here for my students? Is it that I get them a free video while they're all at home and my studio is closed down? Right. Or would I like them to have the connection of Zoom? Like, you would really weigh out, is Zoom the place to be, mm-hmm. or YouTube right now? Don't do all the things. Don't look at this like a list of, just do one thing today. Okay, connected yoga teachers, I want to hear from you. What did you take out of today's masterclass with Amanda McKinney and I? What are you willing to implement in your yoga business? I want to say another thank you to Amanda. You really are a cheerleader for so many yoga teachers. You create amazing content to help us along this sometimes very tricky journey. You really know your stuff with marketing, and you also help and support me as a friend and as an entrepreneur and a mom. So many ways you support me and different people in our community. Thank you so much for all that you do. So I know some of you connected yoga teachers, after this masterclass, you dove in and you started teaching online. And I am hearing from so many yoga teachers who are saying, okay, a few weeks in, now I feel like I'm finally getting the hang of this. This takes practice. Remember what it was like as a brand new yoga teacher, and you would go to a studio or to a little tiny church basement, and you would teach your class and wonder, did that land okay? Oh my gosh, I forgot that whole left side. this is what we're dealing with when we're teaching online. My mom is a yoga teacher, and she never was on Zoom before this all began, and she is now clipping along teaching her classes online. And today, it's Easter weekend as I record this for you. She sent me a link so that I could attend church with her today on Zoom if I wanted to. And I just thought that is so sweet that in this time of isolation, people like my mom, people all around the world, people who were not online on Zoom meetings on a regular basis, are figuring out how to connect with each other. Am I missing in-person hugs and drives to random places and freshly baked bread at the bakery? Yep. Am I super grateful for the things that we do have and we do get? 100%. Am I sometimes overwhelmed and stressed out? Yes, that is still happening. I talked last week on the podcast how my practice or lack of practice was not helping. And I find that just bringing a little bit more yoga into my daily routine makes such a difference. So as the yoga teachers out there wanting to dive in, wanting to explore how to share online yoga, you are doing some very essential work. Thank you for doing that work that you're doing. There are going to be tough days. Reach out on those days to our Connected Yoga Teacher Facebook group, to your bestie, and look for some support on those tough days. Also, don't forget to share the wins. I love to hear the wins, and I love to hear the way that you are getting super creative to make a real yoga experience happen online for your yoga students. Okay, so let me tell you about this new idea that I have. This, for now, the Connected Yoga Teacher Collective. I really wanted to come up with a way to try and answer more of your questions that are coming in. Mostly, I see questions coming into the Connected Yoga Teacher Facebook group, and a lot of you have been so amazing to jump in and help each other out. And I know that a lot of you have questions about what platform should I use? How do I get people to pay? How do I get people who aren't tech savvy to my classes? How do I make a membership? How do I get all of these videos online and get people to sign up for more than just one class? So there's such a variation right now of questions that are coming in. And I thought of different ways that I could answer these. I thought about making articles and putting them on our website. I thought about learning about different platforms, and all of these seem like they're just going to take too much time. And so there was kind of this revelation moment where I thought, no, it's not that I need to create the content and become the expert in these things. I really had to come back to what's my goal for the Connected Yoga Teacher podcast and the entire platform. And that is to connect you to other people who are the experts and to the information that you need to feel supported. That's the whole goal of this. That's my whole niche in this. And so my idea is that I would love to provide a video platform so that you can see a yoga teacher who has figured out one way to do this, because there are multiple ways to do this. Let's say there's a yoga teacher who is teaching on Zoom, and they have figured out how to get people to book, how they pay, how it's super easy and streamlined. And then they can walk through each step of the way. Do they charge for individual classes, or is it a registered series? What do they do to make sure that Zoom is really super secure and no one's jumping into their classes? How do they get the link to their students? And then how do they put together that class? Is there a little time to chat at the beginning? What if students have questions? What if their students don't know how to use Zoom? All kinds of things that we could pull from that. I really want to do this in a video format as opposed to a podcast episode, because I want you to see the back end of certain things, certain softwares and platforms, so that you can make really informed decisions. Is that for me? Would I like to someday move towards that? I also want to ask questions about microphones and lighting and how they set their space up. So that's one part of this collective idea that I have. The other part is Q&A. So I know that a lot of you have very quick questions and you just need a quick answer. Some of those I can provide, but if we're a collective group working together and we meet for a Q&A, not only can we see each other face to face, but we can get some really fast answers to our questions in real time. So Q&A for sure. And then I was thinking a Facebook group that's really dedicated to talking about bringing our yoga online, and especially right now when we are still in these stay-at-home orders in many places around the world, and when our students are dealing with high levels of stress. These are really unique times. And I'm putting this idea together quickly because I don't want to waste time choosing a name, picking some kind of logo, making a fancy landing page. I want to dive in and get you the information quickly. So I'd love to hear from you. You can leave me a voice message. If you go to theconnectedyogateacher.com, there's a little button there to leave me a voice message. Tell me the parts that you would like to see in something like this collective. As soon as I have something together, I will also make sure to send it out in an email. And so if you're not already on my email list, make sure to jump onto my email list now. If you feel like you want even more information about this, I did a Facebook Live. I actually did it today on this day that I'm recording this for you. And it's in our Facebook group. I'll make sure to link to that in the show notes so that you can go back and watch the live and hear me talking through it and see what questions people had there. And I talk more in detail about this idea. And I also talk about how this is the way to do some market research. So if you are a yoga teacher right now who has your yoga online or you're thinking about moving it online, here's one action step that you can take today. I had this idea and I just put it out there and asked my audience. I don't have anything created yet. You can do that. You could do a live Facebook video or a live Instagram video, or you can send out an email with your idea and you can tell your students and ask for their feedback. You can ask, how long do you want classes to be? What do you need me to focus on? What are your main challenges right now? What would you like your yoga practice to look like now that you need to do yoga from home? How can we connect as a community? What would be super helpful? What would be fun? So ask your students these things and see what they come back with. We are at a place right now where everything is brand new in what we're doing, in how we're serving our yoga students, for most of us. Some of you have been teaching online for a while, but for most of us, this is all brand new. So give yourself a lot of room to grow and learn. See what happens if you switch the words mistake and failure for learning. So what if we just call it growth and learning? I'm in this time of growth and learning instead of, oh my gosh, I messed up, I'm failing. Another big action item here that I want to ask of you is that if you are thinking about diving into teaching online, remember what I said at the very beginning of this masterclass. Start with what you have. Do not think that the answer is in a fancy platform, a brand new camera, or a really cool mic. It doesn't start there. I know it can feel like it, but it doesn't. So dive in. I would love to take an online class with you. So the place to find an online live yoga class or to list your online live classes, if you go to theconnectedyogateacher.com and under online yoga, look for find a class. There's a really cool tool that my brother Conrad Shilby built, and it's amazing for sorting through what days, what types of yoga. All of the information is there if you want to take a class or if you want to list your classes there. Thank you, Connected Yoga Teachers. It is such an honor to be able to share information with you, to see the work that you're doing out in the world, and also to really feel supported by you. So many of you have reached out because I was having a very rough few weeks there. Many of us were. I had a family member who was in and out of the hospital and who I'm quite close with, and that was very, very stressful. And I just want to say that thank you so much to everyone who has just been patient with me answering back to emails and who has also reached out just in a note of support. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Thank you also to our team who holds everything together all the time. Suzanne, Crunch, Nick, and Sinead, thank you for all that you do. And Connected Yoga teachers, you know the question I'm going to ask. I want to know what you will be doing this week to stay connected to yourself, your yoga practice, and to your community so that you can share the yoga that lights you up.